Chapter 2. The lie began to unravel on a Thursday afternoon, 2 weeks after Zara woke up. She'd been gaining strength daily, walking the mansion's corridors with increasing confidence, her body remembering rhythms her mind had forgotten. Dr. Chen had cleared her for light activity, though he'd cautioned against anything strenuous or stressful. Dominic had been the perfect attentive husband, bringing her breakfast in bed, reading to her in the library, showing her photo albums filled with memories she couldn't access. He was patient when she forgot things, gentle when frustration made her snap at him, understanding when she asked for space. It was almost too perfect. And Zara had spent enough years in emergency rooms to know that when something seemed too good to be true, it usually was. She'd started small. Innocent questions about their life together designed to trip him up. What did we do for our first anniversary? What's my favorite flower? Where did we go on our honeymoon? Dominic had answers for everything. Roses. Paris. A romantic dinner at the restaurant where they had their first date. But he hesitated, just a fraction of a second, before each answer. Like he was pulling the information from a script rather than memory. Today Zara had decided to push harder. "I want to see my mother," she announced over lunch on the terrace. The October air was crisp, autumn painting the estate's trees in shades of amber and gold. "You keep saying she's been visiting, but I haven't seen her once. I want to see her today." Dominic's fork paused halfway to his mouth. "Of course. I'll have Marcus arrange." "No." Zara set down her glass with more force than necessary. "I don't want Marcus to arrange anything. I want to call her myself. Right now. On my phone." Something flickered behind Dominic's eyes. Panic? Calculation? But his smile remained steady. "Zara, sweetheart, you know the doctor said you should avoid stress." "Talking to my own mother isn't stressful, Dominic." Her voice had an edge now. "Unless there's a reason you don't want me to talk to her?" "Of course not. I just..." He reached for her hand across the table, but she pulled it back. "I'm trying to protect you," Dr. Chen said. "Dr. Chen works for you, doesn't he?" The realization had been building for days, crystallizing now into terrible clarity. "He's on your payroll. He tells you everything about my condition. He does what you say. He's your doctor. Who you hired? Who you pay? Who answers to you?" Zara stood abruptly, her chair scraping against the terrace stones. "I want my phone. The real one. Not this." She pulled the iPhone from her pocket, the one Dominic had given her, filled with photos and messages she didn't remember sending. "Whatever this is. My actual phone. The one I had the night of the accident." Dominic stood too, his hands raised in placating gesture. "Zara, please. You're getting upset and that's not good for your recovery. Stop treating me like I'm fragile." The words exploded out of her. "Stop managing me and controlling the information I get and deciding what's best for me. I'm not a child and I'm not your patient. I'm supposedly your wife, which means you should trust me with the truth." The truth. The word hung between them like an accusation. Dominic's jaw tightened. For a moment, Zara saw something dangerous flash across his features. Not anger, but something colder. The face of a man who was used to getting his way, who didn't like being challenged. Then it was gone, replaced by concern and hurt. "You're right. I'm sorry. I've been overprotective. It's just..." He ran a hand through his hair, a gesture she was beginning to recognize as his tell when he was stressed. "Watching you lie there for 3 months, not knowing if you'd wake up, it changed me. Made me terrified of losing you again. But you're right. You deserve autonomy." He pulled out his own phone, typed something, then looked back at her. "Your personal effects from the night of the accident are in storage. I'll have them brought up. Your phone, your bag, everything. And I'll call you."
If you're enjoying the story so far, don't forget to hit that subscribe button. It really helps the channel grow and lets me keep bringing you more amazing love stories. Alright, back to the story.
"Your mother myself right now, and you can talk to her as long as you want." It was exactly the right response. Reasonable, loving, accommodating. So why did it feel like another performance? 20 minutes later, Zara sat in the library with a cardboard box in front of her. Her hands trembled as she opened it. Inside was her life from before. A worn tote bag with the Mount Sinai Hospital logo, still stained with rain. Her wallet, containing her nursing license, her Metro card, $43 in cash. A half-eaten granola bar. Chapstick. Hair ties. And her phone. The screen was cracked, spiderwebbing across the display like the lies cracking around her. Zara pressed the power button, not expecting it to work after 3 months. It didn't. Dead battery. "I'll get you a charger," Dominic said from the doorway. He'd been hovering, trying not to hover, his anxiety palpable. While she waited, Zara examined the rest of the box's contents. Work schedules from the hospital. A birthday card from her best friend Jasmine. Happy 24th, girl. Can't believe you're another year older and still broke. Love you. Receipts from her coffee runs, her grocery trips, her tiny, normal, non-billionaire life. None of it mentioned Dominic. None of it mentioned being married. Of course, she reasoned these were from work. She wouldn't carry around love letters and marriage certificates in her work bag. But the absence felt significant. The charger arrived. Rosa brought it with sympathetic eyes and fresh coffee. Zara plugged in her old phone and waited for it to power up, her heart hammering. The screen flickered to life. 73 missed calls. 142 text messages. The notifications were overwhelming, all from the days after her accident. From her mother, her sister Kendra, Jasmine, her co-workers. Where are you? Zara, please call me back. I'm worried sick. The hospital said you didn't show up for your shift. I'm calling the police. Zara scrolled back further, looking for messages from Dominic. Texts between her and her supposed husband. Evidence of their relationship. There was nothing. No Dominic in her contacts. No messages. No call history. Her hands started shaking harder. She checked her photos, hundreds of them. Selfies with Jasmine, pictures of her nephew, screenshots of memes, photos of interesting medical cases for study. Not a single photo of Dominic Harrington. Zara? His voice was careful. What's wrong? She looked up at him, this beautiful stranger who claimed to be her husband. You're not in my phone. What? You're not in my phone, she repeated, her voice getting louder. No texts. No calls. No pictures. Nothing. There's no evidence we ever even knew each other. Dominic moved toward her, his expression a perfect mask of confusion. That doesn't make sense. Unless, he paused, thinking quickly. Unless that's not your primary phone. You had two phones, remember? One for work, one personal. This must be your work phone. Your personal phone must have been damaged in the accident. Stop. Zara stood, backing away from him. Just stop. Stop lying. I'm not lying. You are. Her voice cracked. Every word out of your mouth is a lie. We're not married, are we? We never were. I don't know you. I've never known you. The color drained from Dominic's face. For a moment, he looked like he might continue the charade, might spin another story to explain away the inconsistencies. Then his shoulders sagged, and Zara saw the exact moment he decided to abandon the lie. No, he said quietly. We're not married. The admission hit her like a physical blow. Even though she'd suspected, even though the evidence was damning, hearing him confirm it made her knees weak. She gripped the back of a chair for support. Then who are you? Her voice was barely a whisper. What am I doing here? Dominic took a step toward her, hands outstretched. Let me explain. Don't come near me. She grabbed a heavy bookend from the shelf, holding it like a weapon. Don't you dare come near me. You kidnapped me. You've been holding me prisoner for weeks, making me think I'm crazy, that I lost my memory. You did lose your memory. Dominic's voice rose to match hers. You were in a coma for 3 months. Everything I told you about the medical care is true. Dr. Chin is one of the best neurologists in the country. I brought in specialists, gave you round-the-clock care. Why? Zara screamed. Why would you do any of this? Who are you? The silence that followed was deafening. Dominic stood frozen, his chest heaving, his perfect composure finally shattered. When he spoke, his voice was raw and broken and terrifyingly honest. Because I'm the one who hit you. The bookend slipped from Zara's fingers, thudding against the Persian rug. I was driving home from a party. I was drunk, I was reckless, and I hit you with my car. Each word seemed to cost him something. You were dying. There on the sidewalk in the rain, you were dying, and I panicked. I should have called 911. I should have stayed and faced the consequences. But I was a coward. Tears were streaming down his face now, and Zara realized she was crying too. So I brought you here, he continued. I saved your life. And yes, I know that doesn't make up for almost ending it. I gave you the best medical care money could buy. And when you woke up with no memory of that night, he laughed bitterly. I told myself I was protecting you. Protecting both of us. I convinced myself that you were better off not knowing. Zara's mind was reeling, trying to process the enormity of what he was confessing. You've been lying to me for 2 weeks. Making me think I was married. Making me think I was crazy for not remembering. I know it's unforgivable. Dominic's voice broke. But Zara, please, you have to understand. I've spent every day of the last 3 months taking care of you. Sitting by your bedside, talking to you, reading to you, praying you'd wake up. And when you finally did, he wiped his face roughly. I couldn't lose you. I couldn't let you walk away and never see you again. So you imprisoned me with lies. I gave you a home, medical care, everything you needed. Except the truth. Zara's voice echoed off the library walls. Except my freedom. Except my life. She grabbed her old phone, her bag, started shoving everything back into the box with shaking hands. I'm leaving. Right now. And if you try to stop me, I'm calling the police and telling them everything. Kidnapping, false imprisonment, I don't know what else, but I'm sure there are a dozen laws you've broken. Zara, wait. Dominic moved to block the door. Get out of my way. Just listen to me for 1 minute. I said get out of my way. She shoved past him with strength born of rage and betrayal and fear, her shoulder connecting with his chest. Dominic let her pass. He didn't fight her, didn't try to restrain her. He just stood there, looking utterly destroyed as she fled the library. Zara ran through the mansion's corridors, her feet slapping against marble floors, past startled staff members who called her name. Rosa appeared, looking concerned, but Zara pushed past her too. The front door. She just needed to get to the front door. She burst out into the late afternoon sun, the autumn air cold against her tear-streaked face. The driveway stretched before her, a long ribbon of perfect asphalt leading to the distant gates. Freedom. She started running. She made it maybe 50 feet before her legs gave out. 3 months in a coma, 2 weeks of limited activity, and the adrenaline crash all hit at once. Zara collapsed onto the pristine driveway, her body refusing to cooperate with her desperate need to escape. Damn it, she sobbed, slamming her fist against the ground. Damn it, damn it, damn it. She heard footsteps approaching and looked up to find Dominic standing a respectful distance away. He wasn't trying to grab her or force her back inside. He was just there, waiting. Go ahead, he said quietly. Call the police. Turn me in. I deserve it. I've deserved it from the moment I put you in that car and drove away from the scene. He pulled out his phone and held it out to her. Here, use mine. Better reception than that old one. Zara stared at the offered phone, then up at his face. He looked utterly defeated, every arrogant line of his billionaire armor stripped away, leaving just a man who'd made terrible choices and was finally facing the consequences. Why? She asked hoarsely. Why did you really do all this? And don't give me that bullshit about protecting me. Dominic sank down onto the driveway beside her, maintaining a careful distance. He stared at his hands, the hands that had almost killed her, that had carried her broken body, that had held hers in the darkness just last night. Because I fell in love with you. Zara barked out a bitter laugh. That's impossible. You don't even know me. I know you better than you think. His voice was soft, broken. I spent 3 months learning everything about you. I read your journals, they were in your bag. I learned about your mother who raised you and Kendra alone after your father left. About your dream of becoming a pediatric nurse. About how you send half your paycheck home every month even though you can barely afford your rent. I talked to you every day while you were unconscious. I read to you. I played your favorite music, Nina Simone and Lauryn Hill and Erykah Badu. I learned that you take your coffee with too much sugar and you have a scar on your knee from falling off your bike when you were 7. Each detail was a knife wound. He'd stolen her privacy, her autonomy, her life. And somewhere in those 3 months, Dominic continued, sitting in that room watching you breathe, terrified every day that you might not wake up, I fell in love with the woman I'd almost killed. How's that for irony? Zara wiped her eyes, hating that she was still crying. You don't love me. You love the idea of me. The version you built in your head. Maybe. He didn't argue. But these last 2 weeks, getting to actually know you, talk to you, hear your voice, see you smile, even if it was all built on lies, even if you were only being kind because you thought I was your husband, it was the best 2 weeks of my life. And I know that's pathetic. I know I'm the villain in this story. But it's the truth. They sat there on the driveway as the sun sank lower, 2 broken people surrounded by obscene wealth and devastating secrets. Finally, Zara spoke. I should destroy you. 1 phone call and your life is over. I know. You could go to prison. Lose everything. Your company, your reputation, your freedom. I know. Why aren't you fighting harder? Why aren't you threatening me or bribing me or doing whatever it is rich people do when they're about to lose everything? Dominic turned to look at her, and the raw honesty in his eyes stole her breath. Because you deserve better. You deserved better from the moment I saw you on that sidewalk, and all I've done since is compound the damage. So if destroying me gives you even a fraction of justice, then destroy me. I won't fight it. It was the most manipulative thing he could have said. Giving her complete power, putting himself at her mercy, making himself vulnerable. It was also, Zara realized with frustrating certainty, completely genuine. This man, this terrible, beautiful, broken man, was finally telling her the truth. And the truth was somehow more complicated and more painful than any lie he'd constructed. I can't think here, Zara said finally. I need space. I need to see my real family. I need to process all of this without you hovering and manipulating and, her voice cracked. And looking at me like that. Like what? Like I matter more than anything else in the world. Like you'd burn your entire empire down if it meant I'd forgive you. She met his eyes. Stop looking at me like that. I can't. His honesty was devastating. Because it's true. Zara closed her eyes against the tears threatening to fall again. I want to leave. Tonight. I want you to arrange a car to take me to my mother's house. And I want you to stay away from me. No calls, no texts, no showing up at her door with flowers and apologies. I need time to think. Okay. Dominic stood slowly, offering her his hand. She ignored it and pushed herself to her feet alone. One condition, she added as they walked back toward the mansion. You don't breathe a word of this to my family. Not yet. I'll decide what to tell them and when. This is my truth to tell, not yours. Agreed. And if I decide to go to the police? I won't fight it, Dominic said quietly. I'll confess to everything. You have my word. His word. The word of a man who'd lied to her for weeks. But somehow, Zara believed him. Zara's mother lived in a modest two-bedroom apartment in Crown Heights, Brooklyn, a world away from Dominic Harrington's marble palace. When the sleek black town car pulled up to the building at 9 o'clock that evening, Zara had never been more grateful to see peeling paint and cracked sidewalks. The driver, a silent, professional man named Thomas, carried her small bag to the door. Dominic had sent her with clothes, toiletries, her medications, and an envelope she hadn't opened. Thomas handed it all over without comment, then disappeared back into the car like a ghost. Zara stood in front of apartment 3C, her hand raised to knock, suddenly terrified. What would she tell her mother? The truth? A version of it? Another lie to add to the pile Dominic had already built? The door swung open before she could decide. Baby girl? Gloria Mitchell was 52 years old, with dark skin that barely showed her age, natural hair she wore in elegant twists, and eyes that had seen too much hardship to be easily fooled. She worked double shifts as a home health aide, raised 2 daughters alone, and carried herself with a dignity that no amount of struggle could diminish. Right now, those wise eyes were filling with tears. Mama, Zara choked out, and then she was being pulled into arms that smelled like cocoa butter and the lavender lotion her mother had used for as long as Zara could remember. They stood in the doorway crying. Zara from relief and exhaustion and the emotional whiplash of the past few hours, Gloria from joy and confusion and the overwhelming gratitude of having her daughter back. Where have you been? Gloria pulled back, holding Zara at arm's length, examining her face like she might disappear again. 3 months, Zara. 3 months of police reports and hospitals calling and me going out of my mind thinking you were dead in a ditch somewhere. I know, Mama. I'm sorry. I'm so sorry. Gloria's expression shifted from relief to fury in a heartbeat. Sorry? You're sorry? Girl, I almost had a heart attack. Kendra's been calling every hospital in New York. The police said they'd look for you, but adults have the right to disappear and there was no evidence of foul play. She stopped abruptly, really looking at Zara for the first time. Why are you so thin? And what happened to your hair? Zara's hand went self-consciously to her head. Someone, probably Rosa, had been maintaining her hair while she was unconscious, but 3 months of lying in bed had taken their toll. It's a long story, Mama. Can we go inside? The apartment was exactly as Zara remembered, cramped but immaculate, filled with family photos and second-hand furniture. Gloria had turned into a home through sheer force of will. Zara's younger sister Kendra arrived 20 minutes later, bursting through the door with her 4-year-old son Marcus Jr. on her hip. Oh my God, Zara. Kendra was 21, studying to be a paralegal while working retail and raising her son alone. She tackled Zara in a hug so fierce it knocked the breath from her lungs. Where the hell have you been? Do you know how scared we were? Little Marcus reached out chubby hands for his favorite auntie. Auntie ZZ. The sound of his voice, the weight of his small body as Zara took him in her arms, the normalcy of her sister's anger and her mother's worried hovering, It all felt more real than anything in the past 2 weeks. This was her life. This tiny apartment, this struggling family, this love that didn't come with marble floors and lies. They settled in the living room, Zara on the worn couch, Gloria in her favorite chair, Kendra on the floor with Marcus. 3 pairs of eyes watched her, waiting for an explanation. Zara took a deep breath and began to lie. She told them she'd been in an accident, hit by a car on her way home from work. That she'd been in a coma for 3 months in a private hospital. That a wealthy family friend, she didn't specify who, had covered the medical expenses because they didn't want Gloria to be buried in debt. What wealthy friend? Gloria's eyes narrowed. We don't know any wealthy people. Someone from the hospital, Zara improvised. A patient I helped. They wanted to remain anonymous, didn't want any attention. It was close enough to the truth to feel sickening. Every word out of her mouth was another betrayal, of herself, of her family, of the honesty that was supposed to define their relationship. But what was the alternative? Actually, Mama, I was kidnapped by a billionaire who hit me with his car and then convinced me I was his wife? The truth sounded insane even in her own head. And your phone? Kendra pressed. We've been calling for months. Damaged in the accident. I just got it working today. Zara pulled out her cracked phone as evidence. I came straight here as soon as I could. Gloria wasn't buying it entirely. Zara could see the suspicion in her mother's eyes, but she also looked so relieved to have her daughter back that she didn't push. Not yet. Are you okay now? Gloria asked, reaching out to touch Zara's face gently. Your head? Your body? Should you even be out of the hospital? I'm okay. Healing. The doctors cleared me to come home. Then you're staying here, Gloria said firmly. Your room's exactly like you left it. I wouldn't let Kendra's messy behind take it over even when she needed storage. Hey, Kendra protested. I'm not messy. I'm organizationally challenged. The familiar banter, the warmth, the love, it wrapped around Zara like a blanket. This was where she belonged. So why did a traitorous part of her brain keep wondering what Dominic was doing right now? Whether he was sitting alone in that enormous mansion, destroyed by her departure? Whether he meant any of the things he'd confessed on that driveway? She shoved the thoughts away violently. Stockholm Syndrome. That's all it was. A psychological response to captivity and manipulation. It had to be. That night, lying in her childhood bed with Marcus Jr. snoring softly beside her, he'd refused to let Auntie Zizi out of his sight. Zara finally opened the envelope Dominic had sent. Inside was a check for $50,000. And a letter, written in elegant handwriting on heavy cream stationery. Zara, this money is not a bribe. It's not payment. It's not an attempt to buy your silence or your forgiveness. It's simply what you're owed for 3 months of lost wages, plus compensation for the pain and suffering I've caused. Your mother's rent is paid through the end of next year. I've also set up a fund for your nephew's education. He won't be able to access it until college, and it's in a trust that has no connection to me. Your sister will receive a letter from a charitable foundation in a few weeks. I know you told me to stay away and I will. But I can't in good conscience leave you and your family struggling because of damage I caused. Please don't see this as manipulation. See it as the bare minimum of what justice requires. If you decide to go to the police, all the documentation of the accident is in my lawyer's office. I've prepared a full confession. Just say the word. I'm sorry for everything. But I'm not sorry I got to know you. Zara read the letter 3 times, emotions warring inside her chest. Anger that he thought money could fix anything. Gratitude that her mother wouldn't have to choose between rent and groceries anymore. Fury that he was still trying to control the narrative. Relief that Marcus Jr. might actually go to college. And underneath it all, a stubborn, foolish flutter of something that felt dangerously close to longing. She crumpled the letter and threw it across the room. Then she got up, smoothed it out and tucked it into her old jewelry box. The next 2 weeks fell into an uneasy rhythm. Zara helped her mother around the apartment, played with Marcus Jr., caught up with Kendra over cheap wine and expensive secrets she couldn't share. She told everyone she was still recovering, not ready to go back to work yet. The truth was she was paralyzed by indecision. Every night, she pulled out her phone and stared at the number Dominic had programmed into it before she left. In case of emergency, he'd said. Or if you change your mind about anything. She never called. But she never deleted the number either. Jasmine, her best friend since nursing school, visited on day 5 with wine, Chinese takeout, and 1,000 questions. Girl, where have you been? Jasmine demanded, settling onto Zara's bed like she owned it. You ghost for 3 months, then suddenly you're back like nothing happened? Zara repeated her rehearsed story, Accident, coma, anonymous benefactor, recovery. Jasmine listened with increasingly narrowed eyes. Ah. And this mysterious rich person just decided to pay all your medical bills out of the goodness of their heart. I helped their family member once. They were grateful. That's some Hallmark movie bullshit, Z. Jasmine pointed a chopstick at her accusingly. What aren't you telling me? Nothing. I'm telling you everything. You're a terrible liar. You always have been. Jasmine studied her friend's face. Is it a guy? Please tell me you didn't get tangled up with some rich dude who's causing you this much stress. The question hit too close to home. Zara felt her cheeks flush. Oh my God, it is a guy. Jasmine sat up straighter, invested now. Okay, spill. Who is he? How did you meet? Is he hot? Please tell me he's hot and this whole mysterious benefactor thing is actually a sugar daddy situation. Jazz, stop. Zara laughed despite herself. It's not like that. Then what is it like? Zara opened her mouth, closed it, tried again. How could she explain Dominic Harrington? The man who'd almost killed her and then saved her. Who'd lied to her and then confessed everything. Who looked at her like she was the answer to questions he didn't know he was asking. It's complicated, she said finally. Complicated good or complicated bad? I don't know yet. Jasmine reached over and squeezed her hand. Well, whatever it is, I'm here. You know that, right? You can tell me anything. Even the crazy stuff. Especially the crazy stuff. Zara squeezed back, grateful and guilty in equal measure. I know. But she didn't tell. The secret sat in her chest like a stone, growing heavier every day. On day 9, Zara went for a walk to clear her head and found herself in Prospect Park. It was a beautiful November afternoon, the kind of crisp autumn day that made New York feel like magic instead of chaos. She was sitting on a bench watching kids play on the lawn when her phone buzzed. A known number. Her heart jumped stupidly, irrationally. But when she opened the message, it wasn't from Dominic. Miss Mitchell, this is Elena Harrington. We met briefly before your departure. I was hoping we could talk. There are things you should know about my brother. Things he won't tell you himself. Zara stared at the message for a long moment. Elena. The sister who'd seemed to know something was wrong, who'd offered help, who'd looked at her with calculating eyes and asked if she really wanted to be there. She should delete it. Block the number. Cut all ties to that world and the lies that built it. Instead, she typed, when and where. The response came immediately, tomorrow. 2 p.m., Little Collins Cafe in Tribeca. Come alone. The cafe was exactly the kind of place Zara would never have entered in her old life. Exposed brick walls, artisanal coffee that cost more than her hourly wage, beautiful people having beautiful conversations about art and startups and other things that felt impossibly distant from her world. Elena was already there, sitting at a corner table, impossibly elegant in a camel coat and designer sunglasses she didn't need indoors. You came, Elena said, looking genuinely surprised. I wasn't sure you would. I almost didn't. Zara slid into the seat across from her, hyper-aware of her thrift store jacket and scuffed sneakers. What do you want? Elena signaled a waiter, ordered 2 lattes without asking what Zara wanted, then leaned back and studied her with those calculating green eyes. I want to know what my brother did to you. The directness caught Zara off guard. What makes you think he did anything? Please. Elena's laugh was sharp. I've known Dominic my entire life. I know when he's lying, when he's hiding something, when he's spiraling. And for the past 3 months, he's been all 3. She leaned forward. Plus, I did some digging. There's no record of you two ever being married. No wedding, no license, nothing. Yet there you were, living in his house, wearing a ring that cost more than most people's cars, and he was treating you like you were made of glass. Zara's throat went dry. If you already know we weren't married, why are you here? Because I want to know the truth. The whole truth. And I want to know if I need to protect you from him or protect him from you. The waiter brought their coffee. Zara wrapped her hands around the cup, grateful for something to hold on to. Why would you need to protect him from me? Elena's smile was cold. Because Dominic Harrington is worth $8 billion. And you, Miss Mitchell, are a nurse from Brooklyn who was living in his house for weeks, has intimate knowledge of his private life, and could very easily claim all sorts of things that would make for a spectacular lawsuit or media story. The implication stung. You think I'm trying to extort him? I think I don't know you well enough to know what you're trying to do. So I'm here to find out. Elena sipped her latte delicately. Tell me what happened. The real story. And then I'll decide whether to offer you money to disappear or help you destroy him. Either way, I need to know. It was the most honest proposition Zara had received in weeks. No pretty lies, no manipulation, just cold pragmatic calculation from a woman who'd learned to protect her interests in a world that rewarded ruthlessness. Zara respected it even as it made her sad. "He hit me with his car," she said quietly. 3 months ago. I was walking home from work, he was driving drunk and he hit me. Instead of calling 911, he took me to his house and hired doctors to save my life privately. When I woke up from the coma with no memory of the accident, he told me I was his wife." Elena's expression didn't change, but her knuckles went white around her coffee cup. "He kept up the lie for 2 weeks, Zara continued. "Created an entire fake history, fake photos, convinced everyone in his house to play along. Until I found my old phone and realized none of it was real. And then he confessed, told me everything. Let me leave. Sent me home with money I didn't ask for and a promise that he'd turn himself in if I wanted him to." The silence that followed was heavy. Elena set down her cup very carefully. Of course he fell on his sword and offered you his head on a platter. It's very him." "You don't seem surprised," Zara observed. "I'm not. Dominic has always had a self-destructive streak a mile wide. Our father raised us to believe that Harringtons don't make mistakes, and if we do, we bury them. But Dominic," she shook her head. "Dominic inherited all the guilt our father should have felt but never did. He carries the weight of everyone's sins plus his own. That doesn't excuse what he did." "No, it doesn't." Elena met her eyes directly. "But it might explain it. He didn't hurt you because he's cruel or evil. He hurt you because he's a coward who panicked and then tried to fix an unfixable situation with money and lies. Which is, unfortunately, the Harrington family method for dealing with problems." Zara thought about the envelope, the check, the paid rent, the education fund. "He's still trying to fix it with money?" "Of course he is. It's all he knows." Elena flagged down the waiter, ordered 2 more lattes neither of them needed. "So here's my question, Miss Mitchell. What do you want? Justice? Revenge? A settlement? Or," her eyes glinted with something that might have been amusement, "something else entirely?" "What do you mean?" "I mean my brother is in love with you. I've never seen him like this. He's always been controlled, calculated, emotionally distant. Our father made sure of that. But ever since you woke up he's been a mess. Barely sleeping, barely eating, canceling meetings, staring off into space like a lovesick teenager." Elena tilted her head. "And you came here today. You could have ignored my message, blocked my number, cut all ties to our family. But you came. Which makes me think that maybe, despite everything, you're not entirely immune to him either." Zara wanted to deny it. Wanted to say that she hated Dominic, that she was only here for information, that she felt nothing but contempt for the man who'd kidnapped her and lied to her. But Elena's knowing look said she'd see through the lie immediately. "It doesn't matter what I feel," Zara said instead. "What he did was wrong. Illegal. Unforgivable." "Agreed. But unforgivable and unforgiven are 2 different things." Elena leaned forward, her voice dropping. "Look, I'm not here to play matchmaker or convince you to give my brother a second chance he absolutely doesn't deserve. I'm here because I need to know if you're going to destroy him. Not for his sake. Honestly, he probably deserves to be destroyed. But for the sake of the 20,000 people who work for Harrington Industries and would lose their jobs if this became a scandal. For the charitable foundations our company funds. For all the collateral damage your very justified revenge would cause." It was a guilt trip, but it was also the truth. Dominic Harrington wasn't just a man. He was an empire. And empires didn't fall without casualties. "I haven't decided what I'm going to do," Zara admitted. "Part of me wants to call the police right now and watch everything he built burn to the ground. Part of me just wants to forget any of this ever happened and move on with my life. And part of me..." She stopped, unable to finish the sentence. "Part of you wants to understand him," Elena finished softly. "Wants to know if the man who cried at your bedside for 3 months is real or just another lie. Wants to know if someone that broken could ever be whole enough to deserve love. That's not. It is. And I get it. Dominic is good at making people want to save him. It's his superpower and his fatal flaw." Elena pulled out a business card, slid it across the table. "This is my private number. When you decide what you want, and you will decide one way or another, call me. I'll help you get it. Whether that's justice, closure, or," she smiled slightly, "a chance to see if the fairy tale could ever be real." Zara took the card, hating that her hand trembled. "Why are you helping me?" "Because despite being a manipulative idiot, Dominic is still my brother. And I've never seen him actually care about another human being the way he cares about you." Elena stood, gathering her coat. Also because you could have destroyed him already and you haven't. Which means you're either plotting something spectacular or you're already halfway to forgiving him. I'm not. You will be. Elena's smile was knowing and sad. He has that effect on people. Makes them want to believe he can be better than he is. She left Zara sitting alone with 2 overpriced lattes and a business card that felt like a loaded gun in her pocket. That night, Zara lay in bed staring at the ceiling while Marcus Jr. drooled on her shoulder. Her phone sat on the nightstand, Dominic's number glowing in her recent contacts even though she hadn't called it. I'm not sorry I got to know you. The words haunted her. Because the terrible truth was she wasn't sorry either. Those 2 weeks of lies had also contained moments of genuine connection. Conversations that felt real. Laughter that wasn't faked. Touches that made her feel seen in ways she'd never experienced. Was any of it real? Could any of it be salvaged from the wreckage of his deception? And more importantly, did she even want to try? Zara picked up her phone, typed out a message, deleted it. Typed another, deleted that too. Finally she wrote, "We need to talk. But not at your place. Neutral ground." She hit send before she could change her mind. The response came 30 seconds later. "Anywhere. Anytime. Just name it." Zara stared at the message for a long moment, her heart hammering against her ribs. "Tomorrow. 7 p.m. Brooklyn Bridge Park. Come alone. I'll be there." She set down her phone and closed her eyes, wondering if she was about to make the biggest mistake of her life. Or if she'd already made it 3 months ago when she stepped onto that rain-slicked sidewalk. Either way, tomorrow would bring answers. And maybe, finally, the truth both of them were too scared to face.